Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So let's start our webinar today. So first of all, let me just introduce myself. I'm Draco Wong. I'm an application consultant in CADVision system. All right, so let's just have my screen here. All right. So let's start our webinar today on this title of winning competition with data management. All right. So we will continue from the webinar from last week on GET, on some of the challenges that are faced by some of the companies in Malaysia, so that especially in the data management side. So today we're going to go through back some of the challenges, and then we'll show you guys what is our solution to addressing all these challenges. So before I start, so if you have any question throughout the webinar, so you can drop your question in the chat box. All right, so we'll address all your questions at the end of the webinar. All right, so let's start our webinar. Right, so first of all, we'll go through back some of the challenges that faced by the company in managing their product data. This already been highlighted by Kiet last week. So for those who you are joining our webinar last week. So there's like 4 main categories that highlighted by Kiet on the challenges. So first of all will be the non-standard product development process and data. All right, so this is on when the user can't find their data or can't read the product data, and they don't know what is the version that they are using. So many of this is due to the non-standardized and ways or method that the user or the company is managing their data. So all individual in the company might have their own ways, okay, to managing their own product data, especially in the design department or the engineering department. So everyone will producing their own CAD data and just store it individually. So this causes messy data management when they are trying to find back the data, or they are trying to get the correct version of their data. So next, the inability to share and use the product data within the company. Okay, so this happened like I can't find back the data that I'm creating in maybe in the past 5 years. Or where is this component being used? Okay, so all this is due to the inability to share and use the product data within the company. Especially we always need to share our data with the downstream departments, or we are getting some information from our colleagues. For example, like the mechanical departments are getting some information or some data from the EE department, from the electrical side. So to collaborate and share data between each departments sometimes are difficult, okay, because due to the data silo on each department, the communication might take times and cause delays. So next will be similar, but this time is the inability to share and use the product data with the ecosystem partners. So this ecosystem partner this time including our external partner, which is our customer or our supplier. So most of the time we need to share our data with our customer for their approval, or to share the data to our supplier, so to get them to fabricate the parts for us. So similarly, so we need to maybe send email to them manually every time, but this sending email is a manual way, and this tends to have some losses in between, because the human mistake might happen. So maybe we are sending the wrong version of files to our supplier, and at the end they manufacture the wrong parts. This causes loss to the companies, and might even cause delays to our project. And the last one will be the constant rise in the security and the protection of our intellectual property. So we don't want sometimes that our intellectual property, our CAD data, our design data lost, okay, because of the server being hacked or my computer corrupted and I don't have any backup. So now all my data lost and I need to recreate it again, which costs time and also money to company. So we also want to prevent any leakage of our intellectual property to outside. So to protect all our intellectual property in this case. All right. So these are some of the challenges that mentioned by Kiet last week. Okay. So now for this webinar, our purpose is to address on how to address these challenges, especially on these challenges that to managing our data. So let me introduce you guys on our data management solution of SOLIDWORKS PDM Professional. So what is this SOLIDWORKS PDM Professional and how it can help? Okay, so come for the first question. What is SOLIDWORKS PDM Professional? Some of you, you guys might heard of this one, heard of this product before, and some of you might be not. So let me introduce this to you guys. So first of all, SOLIDWORKS PDM Professional, or SOLIDWORKS PDM in short. So it's the best product data management PDM solution for all the SOLIDWORKS user. So this solution is designed to help the user to manage their engineering data. So include all the CAD data and its related supporting document in an organized and a standardized way. So these are what it can be done inside PDM solution, and to help to increase the production rate. So this can be done by saving the user from some tedious data management job or version maintaining job in this case, and prevent any loss of data in between, so that the user can focus more in their design and development job instead of this tedious data management job. So throughout this, we have to increase the production rate or the throughput of the company. And next will be to promote the design reuse on helping the customer to find back all their legacy file, okay, and all the references within a project, so that when we want to refer the old or legacy data, we are easily to do that. So throughout this, we promote the design reuse and to save time and to shorten the design cycle, okay, for the company. So not only that, there's some bonus here, because all of this you heard is like we are just maintaining the SOLIDWORKS file, but SOLIDWORKS PDM can do more than that. In a multi-CAD environment, means that different managing different kind of CAD data, and also Microsoft Office data, for example like your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and also like graphic files, and in fact any Windows application files format. So all this can be managed and maintained inside SOLIDWORKS PDM. So it's not limited to just one department in the company. In fact, it connects all the departments and also our external customer. And this is how SOLIDWORKS PDM able to help in our workflow, especially in this design collaboration workflow. Right. So this is a example or typical workflow that are used by a lot of companies on their design development process or their product development process. Okay, so normally we start from engineering design and then go for approval and then go to until to release. So all our data begins from the design stage. Okay, so the engineers will create their data and then they will maintain it inside by themselves or by the system. Okay, then normally they will submit the files for the manager for approval. And now, especially for this pandemic time, so a lot of us need to work from home or we are away from office. So that face-to-face collaboration might be difficult, especially like last time, we might need to print out our drawing or we need to send our drawing manually to our manager to get the approval. But now this one might be getting difficult because we are not seeing face-to-face or we are working in a different location. So from here, what SOLIDWORKS PDM can help is to provide an electronic workflow to automate the notification or the submission process from the designer and submits the files to manager for approval. So this can be done automatically by some automatic notification, for example, like email, or everyone can access to their files within a web browser. Okay, so after the engineer or the designer submit their files for the approval, okay, so the manager will make the decision whether to approve the files and then maybe they need to reject it and to do some editing required from there by the engineer. So everything is done, then they might be submit the files for the customer approval. So all these manager will submit the files for the customer for approval. So now this is time that we communicate with our external party or external customer. So this not only to the maybe customer, or this even can be our supplier, where we share our files to our supplier to get them for our production, to get them to produce some parts for us. So we need to do this communication and collaboration with external party. So normally how this will be done? So normally we just send out some emails, okay, to our supplier or to our customer to get the approval, okay, or submit for them for maybe produce some part for us. So in between here, there's some challenges like mentioned before, which is we might be using the wrong version, and this process might take times, and in the end cause delays in our project. So one of for some example in our customer, they are sending the wrong version to their supplier, and at the end they get the wrong parts. Okay, this cause loss for them because they still need to pay for the wrong part and cause the project delay, and at the end cause even more loss to them. So we are having to try to avoid this kind of situation from happen. So by integrating everyone or letting everyone working in the same environment in the PDM system, so everyone can get the correct data at the correct time. So for example, like now the customer here, we can let them come into our system to see their files and approve from there. So now basically you now have an official customer approval in the system. So you are no longer like needing a tedious job to sending manual emails to the external party, okay, to get their approval or to send the files to them for collaboration. And then after the customer getting approved or the supplier approved already, so next we might doing some CAM or CNC programming here. Okay, so also we might need to like deal with other departments, like maybe for example like the electrical departments. So here we are dealing with the CAM departments here. So we still need to send the files or share the data for them to get them to do the CAM programming. So in here, maintaining the correct version use is important so that we don't waste time and waste to cause any losses in there. So all this the 3D design data provides the input for the NC code generation. So that's why we need to have a accurate and correct data for them. So by maintaining all of them inside the same system, they're getting the same data as all of us. So this will prevent any mistake from happening inside this process. And next, after the CAM programming done, on CNC programming done, we send this file for manufacturing. And this is the important part because manufacturing will produce our end product and use up our materials. And this is all cost and also revenue from there. Okay, so after we prepare for the actual production, we send it to them. Same, we want to maintain the correct version to the downstream department for manufacturing. So manufacturing people can get to this correct data when they want, when they need it, and they are not using the wrong version of files. So not, for example, like design department already in revision 5, but the manufacturing still getting revision 1. This can be prevented. Okay, and in that case, we prevent any losses in the manufacturing or any scrap from there. And next, after the manufacturing, we may be sending the parts for the QC or QA and also the design data as well. Sending the same design data. So QC and QA departments will have a better collaboration with all these departments because they are using the same design and design data. So after that, everything's done, maybe then we can submit or to send out our products for delivery. But always or often, the process doesn't stop there. Sometimes you get some new revision change or some engineering changes. And this is where we're gonna do some modified design through the ECO process. ECO process can be a tedious or complex process because it involves a lot of departments. Okay, for example, like the design department, and then we need to notify the customer, and then the CAM department and manufacturing department, and at the end the QC and QA department, for example here. So some of the challenges that face in our customer or in some typical companies is that they lost track of the ECO process. Okay, so no one is know what is the progress of this ECO. Okay, and in the end, they will cause like the wrong revision usage. Okay, in some of the departments, or they are not using the latest version of it. Okay, so maintaining the correct ECO process is important. Yeah, so this is also where PDM can come in to help to properly data and record the whole ECO process. So for example, we can know what is the progress of the ECO process now, and the system can automatically notify the proper stakeholder, okay, at the right time. So when the ECO get approved, only they will involve to the design department and then for all the downstream department. So the ECO process inside PDM can be managed by that way by sending out some automatic notification to the correct stakeholder. So to making sure every stakeholder getting the correct data at the correct time. Yeah, so this is typical on how SOLIDWORKS PDM able to address the challenges in a typical design workflow. Next, I'm gonna talk about get into more details on the SOLIDWORKS PDM professional capabilities. Okay, so there will be around 7 capabilities here that I'm gonna to address into. So the first one will be the automated version control. So like I mentioned before, so all the ECO changes or the changes in revision can be a tedious and complex work. So by using PDM here, so it gives you an automated version control. So the user in the system or in the design to manufacturing process no longer to worry on the version that they are using, and they are no longer need to spend time, okay, on maintaining their version or revision of their CAD data, or in fact not even not just CAD data, but all the data that we are storing inside the PDM. So all this is controlled automatically by the system, okay, to avoid any human mistake and save the humans from doing this tedious job. So next will be to secure our data assets. Like one of the challenges that mentioned by Kiet before, which is to secure and protect our intellectual property. And in this case, PDM able to help to assign the correct permission, okay, to the correct person in the correct time, so that everyone is getting their correct the data that they needed. Okay, so this will avoid any leakage of the data as well. And at the same time, it protects and backs up our data, so to avoid any losses in the event of like maybe our server crash or server being hacked or server or our individual hard disk being corrupted. Next will be to promote the data reuse. Okay, so for example, our legacy data, or when we are doing some similar projects, so we are no longer needed to recreate back the data that we need. Okay, but sometimes we are difficult to find back the legacy data. Okay, because it's just everything will be in the server or in our local drive. Is difficult to get back to the legacy data, or some legacy data that created by our colleagues is no longer here. So they are difficult to get to all this of legacy data. But maintaining the data inside PDM, you allow the user to easily keep track and also get to this correct data, and which in turn to promote the data reuse in here. So the engineers no longer need to spend their time to create the same data over and over again in their project. So in this, we have to reduce the design cycle time, and especially some easily configurable design. Okay, next will be our multi-site collaboration. Because sometimes we have like office in different location, maybe for example in Penang or in KL and JB. So the collaboration between different locations can be difficult because we are treating them is like our external party already. So we need to send some emails, okay, to them to collaborate. So this can be tedious and difficult and also time consuming. So by maintaining everyone in the same PDM environment, we allow this multi-site collaboration. So to connect the user or designer from different offices, okay, or different location. This can be synchronized them at the real time, so to allow a better collaboration between them. Next will be the automated workflow for approval and also tracking. Okay, so this is like what I said, the standardized workflow, okay, for approval process, and also the ECO changes, ECO process. So as the automated workflow allow us to just sending the files for the next stage, okay, and the system will help us to standardize all the process that the files going to go through. So we are no longer need to worry that some of the files stuck in middle, especially when we are doing some engineering change process. And also we are getting easier to get some approval, okay, when we are working in different location. Next will be the data connectivity. So this is to maintain and to preserve the data references inside the files. So for example, I believe some of us here is using SOLIDWORKS. Okay, so as you know, when we are dealing with SOLIDWORKS assemblies, so we are dealing with the child part as well. So sometimes this child part might be get renamed or maybe get moved to the other location. Okay, so this will cause some errors inside the assembly. But you are no longer need to worry on this issue, as PDM help us to preserve the data connectivity. So no matter you are moving the file or renaming the file, okay, so PDM still able to preserve all these kind of connectivity or references. And all these references and connectivity can be used to compile as a view material, also from the PDM. So our downstream department can access to the PDM to get to this view material without needing them to have maybe a SOLIDWORKS in their computer. So they just need to get to this PDM to see for the view material, especially on the maybe purchasing department or the production department. And lastly is web connected, of course. So especially now, maybe a lot of us are working from home or we are in different location. So to connect our data to web is important. So to making sure we are still able to access to our data even though we are not in the office. So the web connection from PDM allows us to connect to our data through our browser. Okay, so this is a few of the highlight capabilities inside SOLIDWORKS PDM. So next, we're gonna do a short PDM demo to show you guys on the interface and also the procedure on the SOLIDWORKS PDM. So let's get into this part. All right. Okay, so now what you guys are seeing will be the interface from SOLIDWORKS PDM. So as you guys can see, this is a very familiar interface like Windows Explorer. So through this, we are allowing, or the purpose of we are doing this that similar to Windows Explorer is that we want to get the user to get into this system or to familiar with the system at the shortest time, so that we are not spending like months of implementation, okay, to get the user to adopt to the system. Because now we are working in the same or similar interface that they are used to. So in this demo, I will demo a process or the workflow of from creating a new project and then putting files inside until I get my approval and my revision here. So now I will first create a new project from here. Okay, so system will just put up to us some of the information about this project. So I just key in some of the information here and also my customer. All right, then the system will create some of the standardized folders for me. So for example here, my project 35. So inside here, I will get my structure folder. So all the user can know where to put their files in. So from here also, we can key in some more data about this project. So for example here, I want to specify the project manager. Okay, so some of the information about this model. And this data will populate to all the files within this folder. So this makes use of the intelligent data inside, where later on we can use this for our searching and also to reuse it back in maybe into the title block of the drawing. So next, I'm going to put in some files into my system. So saving files in the PDM is easy. So we can just directly save the files inside, or we can directly just drag and drop our files into it, like what I'm doing now. So now I'm just drag and drop some of my files inside to copy the files into the system. Oh, sorry, I think there's some technical issue with my screen. Just give me a moment.
Hi everyone. So while waiting for Draco to open back his screen, so do you have any question to ask Draco at the moment? You can just type a few of questions that you want to ask in the chat bottom. Yeah. So we will address your question shortly to Draco. Yeah. So while waiting for Draco, do you guys have any question to ask? Actually, I do see a question. Someone asked a question. Yeah, like I will address it to Draco during the Q&A section. So yeah, any others have any question to ask, you can just type it in the tab. Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm get right back in. All right, so I will continue here. Okay, so continue from what I'm stopping just now, which is after I put in the files into the system, I just copy and paste in the files into the system. So next, what I will do is will share the file or putting the file to the server to share the files to all my colleagues here. Okay, so what I need to do, just one click button to check in the file. So this file will populate to the server. Okay, so I just check in here. So the files will populate to the server, and all my colleagues within my company will get to this latest version of my design. Okay, with the correct permission, they can access the files and even do some modification to it. So this allowed the collaboration between me and my colleagues easier and faster. So in the PDM system, we have provided a few more functionality here at below here, which from the first tab will be the preview tab. Okay, so this allows us to preview our CAD data. Sorry, I think my screen is getting issue again. Okay, it's back. Oops. Right, so let's do it this way. Okay, Yeah, sorry again for the technical issue here. Okay, so let me continue on the preview tab. All right, so now what I'm seeing is the preview tab in PDM. So where it allows user to preview our CAD data in 3D form. Okay, so this is easier for us to, especially want to explain our data directly from the downstream departments. Okay, so they can directly preview the files from here without the needing of SOLIDWORKS installed in their computer. So they can have some exploded view from here and also make some measurement directly from here as well. So this can be done directly in the preview tab from here. So this is easier for the collaboration or sharing data for the downstream department or with our manager who are not needing to see the file in details view. So from here, we can already see all this in the preview tab. So next will be our data card here, which is some of the information about these assembly files. So some of the information captured from our project folder. And here we can put in more information. So this information, like I mentioned before, can be used when we are searching for our files or when we are use it to put into our title block or custom properties of the files. So for example, here I will make some modification, okay, on the data card to simulate the scenario of I making changes or modifying the files. So now what I'm doing here is to checking out the file. So this will reserve the files for me, and to avoid anyone from overwriting the files, okay, when I'm using it. So this will prevent some overwriting to our data and also the duplication files into the system. So for example, here I will add in some description here. And after I've done everything, I can check in back my file. So I can put a comment to it to indicate what is the changes that I have done. So for example, here I will add the description. All right. So what you are seeing here is the automated version control inside the PDM system. From just now is a version 1 when I just created the file. And when I make some changes to it, it will automatically become version 2. All the version changes will be recorded inside the history of the files. So they indicate what is the version, who is the user who make the changes, the time, and also the comment. So this is the user from managing or maintaining the version of the files. And also when we are come in the future, when we want to check back, it's easier because it have the full record of data footprint inside here. Also, when we are doing auditing, or for example, we need to adhere to some of the ISO compliance, okay, ISO standard or some FDA standard. So this is an important point that we keep track of all our record of our changes in the system. Okay, so this will be the version control in PDM system. And next will be the bill of material. As you can see, it will automatically capture all the reference part or the child part within this assembly. And we can easily export this out as an Excel file. And with all the columns that we needed here. Okay, so this allows us to share the bill of material easier, okay, to the downstream departments. And also we can easily to check back where is this file being used, okay. So especially when we want to make changes to some standard parts, so we can easily see the files is being used in which assembly and what is the impact if you want to make some changes. All is being listed in the system here, and the user can easily find all these references. So for example, now I've done my modification and changes here. So now I want to submit the files for the approval. So I can just right click and submit the file for approval. So if you make, this is to making sure everyone is following the same workflow. Okay, so I can notify my manager here, Mark, okay, by using an email, okay, or the internal notification system in PDM. Or I can give it a command here, which is this is an initial design, and can ask Mark to check for us. Okay. So now the system will send an email to my manager here. Okay, so for example, the email like this. Okay, so the system will send an email like this to the specific person or the specific stakeholder in this stage. So for example, Mark is getting this email, okay, in his inbox. Okay, so he will know what is the files that he need to check, or this file is that need his attention here. So this to allow the seamless or to ease the approval process in the company. So from here, Mark can directly browse to the files from the email, or also inside PDM we have a powerful search function where it allows us to search based on the variables that we key in just now, okay, and also others information that we can key in from here. So for example, here I want to find the files that waiting for my approval here. So I can see a lot of files that I need to approve from here, which is inside the waiting for approval stage. So I just want to refine it a bit. So I just want to see the assembly file only. So the system will refine it for me. So no matter as long as we have this information within the files, so we can search back the files from here. So no matter we are searching back the file from 5 years, 10 years from here, so we can easily to keep track or to get back the files that we want. We can directly preview the files from here inside the searching, like just now. Or we can directly browse to that part. So from here, the manager will check the file. Okay, so if everything's okay, so I can approve the file by just changing the state of the file. It's either to reject the files to get back to the thing required, and you get back to the design stage, and I can pass the file to make it as an approved files. So from here, we can setting some permission that only the approver or the manager can approve the file. So, and then I can put in the command here and notify back the user and key in my password from here to give us a layer more or a level more of authentication here, or the security, a level of security here. So I just click OK to approve my files. So from here, system will approve all my related files within this assembly. So we no need to send like one by one. Also, for example, if we have some drawing that we need to print as PDF, so we can also automate this kind of a task from here. And also the system will increase the revision for me, okay, at this stage, after I get the files approved. And this can be right to the data or the title block of a drawing directly. So the user don't need to spend their time to write in all this kind of information inside, as this can be populated automatically by the system. Okay, so this is a brief demo on SOLIDWORKS PDM. So let's get back here. All right, next we're going to talk about some of the case study from our customer locally and also some of our partner global customer, okay, on the feedback from their using PDM in their company. So first of all, we go through one of the company here in Malaysia, which is a Vitrox Corporation Berhad, where they are producing the automated vision inspection equipment and also some electronic device for semiconductor and electronics packaging industry. So they are designing a complex equipment here, where they are including a lot of departments, for example, the mechanical, the electronic, and also the programming software departments. Okay, so they need to integrate their CAD, SIM, and PDM, okay, with the ERP system to help them to plan their resources, to reduce the resources wastage, and to shorten their product development cycle. So what is the challenges or challenge that faced by them is they need to purposely assign an engineer or an admin here to connect or to share the data from the CAD system to the ERP system by key input one by one to the ERP system. So this person can spend days sitting in front of the computer just to key in data. So this is actually a resources wastage, because we actually can do more, okay, to give us more productivity by automating this kind of process. So they seek to us to get them a PDM system to help them to integrate this kind of a process, whereby implementing PDM system in their company help them to reduce their development cycle time by 30% here by integrating the CAD system and also to the ERP system through the PDM. From here, we are allowing them to maintain the correct version and help them to reduce the scrap or rework by 40%. And lastly is the ability to help them to integrate with the ERP system. So now they are no longer need to assign someone to just key in data for them. So this is what we help them inside this Vitrox Corporation. Next is a customer in Singapore as well. Is our customer in Singapore, which is a 3D medicine. Is a medical equipment R&D center and producer and manufacturer. Okay, who are making some precision medicine for making early and personalized diagnosis for patient. Okay, the challenge that they need to face here is they require to comply with the FDA requirements, okay, to help them in reducing their time and cost and also the process in their whole QA process and also production process. And more importantly, they need to collaborate between multi-site in Malaysia, Singapore, and also China. Okay, so they get to us to have a PDM system in their company to help them to get to comply with this type of compliance. So by implementing the correct PDM system, the correct configuration of PDM system in their company, so they are able to certify as a FDA 21 CFR Part 11 and ISO 13485 for the medical quality system. So getting this, okay, so help them to continue on their production and their business smoothly. Also, okay, so we're also working with them to streamline their global development to production process, where we help them to collaborate between different sites, okay, from Malaysia, Singapore, and also China, because they have engineers in these all different locations. So originally or previously, they have difficulties on doing a smooth collaboration between them. But now, as they are working in the same system, so we can able to streamline this, and as the result, we help them to reduce their design cycle time by 40 to 60% by streamlining the collaboration between engineers and the production from multiple sites. So next is another Singapore customer in Venture International, who is a contract manufacturing to provide contract manufacturing service. Okay, so from research, design, okay, to development and also production. So they have a lot of users across Malaysia and Singapore as well. Okay, so they want to standardize their design process and to reduce wastage and to enhance the communication between the downstream department, okay, especially from the production in Malaysia and also in the R&D in Singapore. So by implementing PDM system in their company, we have to improve the tracking of revision and version update. Okay, so to maintain all the user or all the designer, okay, in their production side and also the R&D side are using the correct data. So through this, we have to reduce the scrap or rework by 20%. So reducing scrap and rework also in turn help them to avoid any to reduce their project delay by 30% here. Okay, so because they no longer do need to spend time on repairing or fixing their products. And also lastly, we also have to integrate the CAD system and with the ERP system, okay, especially in the BOM management, the bill of material management. All right, next we're gonna see some of the global case study, okay, from SOLIDWORKS Global, which is one of it is the Oyster North America, so where they are manufacturer on packaging and filling machine. Okay, so they want to speed up their development of this complex and sophisticated filling and packaging machine, okay, and also at the time to support the growth of the and also boosting the machine performance here. So by implementing PDM system, they're able to reduce their design cycle time, okay, by 50 to 60%. Through this, we increase or accelerate the production rate, okay, in 10 times in some cases. Because now the collaboration between the design department and also the downstream departments are smoother and easier. Also, by centralizing their data in the system, like what Get mentioned previously last week, so we also able to help them to automate their design, okay, by using the centralized data, in which they cut their configurable design time from weeks to days. By just using a few days, they're able to complete their design now. So this largely reduce their project time, and in turn, it allows them to do more projects in the same time frame and the same resources. Okay, next is the last case study here on the Mundus Corporation. Okay, so where is dealing with more air treatment solution and also the restoration services. Okay, so actually they want to have a system to help them to connect the design group where based in Sweden, okay, China, and also some locations in US. Okay, so by implementing the system, the PDM system in their company, okay, so we are able to connect the designer from multi-site as well, like in venture just now. So this able to help them to streamline their development process and increase the design reuse worldwide, because now all the engineers from different locations are able to access the same data and improve their repeatability and also product quality by 80%. Also reduce any errors, check-in errors by 20%, and reduce any changes or the ECO engineering changes by 40%. This save up a lot of their time and allows them to realize a more efficient resources utilization globally. So this will be our webinar today. There's a summary here on SOLIDWORKS PDM Professional, where this solution enables to help our customer to securely store and also index their design data for fast retrieval when we want to reuse back our data in the future. So it also eliminates the concern about the version control and also data loss. At the same time, protect the data, okay, from leakage. It is the sharing of data and also promote the collaboration on design with the people inside and outside of the organization, especially when we are dealing with multiple location. And lastly, it provides an electronic workflow, okay, where it formalize, manage, and optimize our development process, our document approval process, and lastly, our engineering change process. And with this, it ends my webinar today. And then we go on with some Q&A section here. So actually, there's some good news here for all our attendees here today, where we have a voucher to be claimed by all our attendees here, that can be claimed by all our attendees here today, where especially during this MCO time, and we know there's a hard time for many companies. So we try to give some promotion here on our solution to help our customer, where this 10,000 ringgit off voucher, okay, with a 2 PDM professional license plus all the subsequent or the related component needed. Okay, for example, the SQL license, the implementation, and also the training. So get this 10,000 ringgit off voucher immediately. Okay, so this is only for the attendees today. Okay, we're open to claim all this voucher for 2 weeks. So book your interest or claim your voucher here today. Okay, with us before 10th of June. And we are only open like for 5 slots on this voucher. I mean the use of this voucher. So yeah, contact us for more details on this and book with us on this great promotion here. Okay, next we'll go on for the Q&A section.
All right, Draco, actually we do have a question by registrants. Yeah, I will just read among those questions. So the first question that customer asks is can I use with AutoCAD files?
Yeah, definitely. As I'm show before. So this is not only supporting SolidWorks file, but it also support multi-CAD environment. So this will be include AutoCAD as well. So the DWG file, the Excel file from AutoCAD, we also able to help to manage and organize. In fact, not just AutoCAD and other CAD software as well.
All right, understand. Thank you so much. So the second question that customer asks is how much is the storage limit?
Yeah, this is not same with the. I think this storage limit is meant to be the storage limit that we want to store our files into the server. Yeah, so this is not similar to like what Google Drive and also the Cloud Drive. So this is because we are storing the files in the server, so it all depends on the storage size in the server.
Understand. So for the last question, so how PDM can improve my workflow as I need to review the drawing in physical state before approve the design?
Okay, that is a good question here. So can you repeat the question again on how to PDM can help in workflow? Which
so
of the workflow?
Customer asks, right? So you want how PDM can improve my workflow as I need to review the drawing in a physical state before approve the design.
Okay, so yeah, so like just now you can see that we can use the preview tab inside the PDM, so to allow the manager to preview the files. Okay, so from the manager side as well, when you are want to approving something, so you can also directly access to the PDM, okay, to get to the files that you want. Okay, so for example, when you want to get some some files are waiting for your approval. So system will send you some notification to you. Okay, so in this case, some email notification, so you will know where you need to get for the files. Okay, so and then you can get the preview tab, okay, to preview the files directly in 3D form. Or if you have SOLIDWORKS, okay, so you can directly open the files from SOLIDWORKS to see the file before you get for, go on for the approval process. Okay, so this is the, some of the workflow that inside PDM that helps the management side or the approval side to easily preview their files in the PDM.
Understand. Thank you very much, Draco. So, other than these 3 questions, so do you have any more questions to ask? You can just key in those questions now. So, yeah, we just wait for around 1 or 2 minutes for your questions.
Yeah. So just let us know if you have any question here. So if you have something else that you come to your mind in afterwards, so you still can approach us for anything that requires the data management. We are ready to help you.
Yeah, since so there is no further question to be asked, so today our webinar would just we will end like this. So if you have any question to ask, further question, you can just prompt us through WhatsApp or email to us. Yeah, we will reach out to you regarding your question. Yeah, so if you doesn't have anything else, so we will just end this webinar now. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Draco.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys for your time.